Welcome, everybody. My name is Lori Footerer, and I'm one of the coordinators in the diploma program. I specifically coordinate the 3-year, so the B108 it's called, and then the co-op, which is the B158 program. And I've been with the college for just over 20 years now. And, you know, it is a wonderful place to work. The students are amazing. I feel so strongly about the program that we bring to our students and the competitive advantage that we have over the other GTA colleges in the marketing program. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. Adrian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. I thought you were going to do that, but
Okay.
so I'm ghosting this. I'm Adrian Bond. I coordinate the 2-year diploma, which is actually very much shadows Lori's program. So I do a 2-year program, which can be moved forward, transitioned into a 3-year. They have the same course content for those 2 years. So we actually work pretty much on all the initiatives together. So also another resource, if you wanted to start in my program, you would be contacting me pretty much directly, but I will be seeing people from both programs.
Okay, great. So why don't we get started and jump in? Um, so we want to talk, as we'd mentioned, about 3 different diploma level marketing programs today. We've got the Business 120 program, which is a 4-semester, 2-year program. Very quickly, it's 27 courses to graduate. 23 of these are mandatory. So we tell you the courses that you need to take. You have an option of 1 business elective and then 3 what we call general education electives on other areas of interest that you might have, just to round out your education. In terms of the 3-year program, the first 2 years really mirror each other. So the first 4 semesters are identical. And then in terms of the 3-year program, you come back for another year, obviously. So you move up to 31 mandatory credits. But what you'll notice here is you get a little bit more elective options. So it really gives you the opportunity to specialize in a certain field of marketing that you might be interested in, hone your skills even further. And, you know, the 3-year program, there's a lot of applied client projects. So some really great learning opportunities to build your resumes and things like that. So we've got those options. And as Adrian mentioned, it is quite easy to move between the programs. You might start in the 2-year program and decide that you want a little bit more education and you can move to the 3-year, or the opposite might happen. You might start in the 3-year program and find after 2 years you've gotten what you need out of the program and feel confident that you can move to the next phase of your life. And we have students that are moving, you know, in both directions all the time. So it is nice that there is some flexibility. So if you're debating, oh, I'm not sure about the 2 or the 3-year program or even the co-op program, take your pick in terms of what is feeling the best for you in the moment, but don't feel that you're sort of handcuffed to that decision. The flexibility is quite nice. And then the third one is the 3-year program, and then the addition is the work experience option. So you would graduate, you'd basically do 2 extra terms that are your work terms, and that's available after 3rd semester. So you'll take the first 3 semesters, and then you'll also take what we call a work prep course. And then at any point after that, you can take your work term. So it doesn't need to be in 4th semester and 6th semester. Some of our students lump the work terms together and take 8 months, if that makes sense, or they want a little bit more education before they go out into and do their internship. So they might do 4 semesters. So again, there's some flexibility there, but anytime after 3rd semester, you can decide how you want to sort of craft your work term experience. And then as Ed mentioned, there is 1 additional course required for this, which is a work experience prep course, which really helps you getting your resumes together, going through the interview process, how do you apply for jobs, etc. Now, the caveat to this program is there is a GPA requirement that you need to keep in the program to be able to do the work term. And so that's a 3.0 GPA, which translates to about a 75% average. So, you know, some students find this challenging to maintain this GPA. But so it is something to keep in mind that if the 158 program is where you want to start, you really need to make sure that you're focusing on the educational component and keeping those grades up. And again, if you do start in the 158 program and you're not able to maintain this average, it's very easy to move you down to the B108 program or the B120 program. So I always say to my students, if you're really considering the work term experience option, which I think is a fantastic opportunity for our students, go for it. And if it doesn't work out from an academic standpoint or you change your mind, you can always make a switch at that point whenever that makes sense for you. And if you guys have questions throughout this, I know people are sort of manning the chat bar or the question and answer bar. So feel free, and I can stop and pause and chat with anybody that has wants a little bit more information on the topics we're covering. So this next slide just shows you guys the first 2 years essentially of all three programs. And what I wanted to point out here is, this program is called Business Administration Marketing. And a lot of students think, oh yeah, I've signed up for a marketing program and all the courses are going to be, marketing specific and marketing related. And as you look at these courses, you'll see very quickly that this is really a business administration education experience with a slant towards marketing. So you'll notice very quickly that you're taking things like accounting and economics and organizational behavior, and there's several computer courses that you have to take. There's English courses that you have to take. So we just really want to prepare our students that it is a business administration program, and you will find this throughout the colleges in Ontario, that most of them very much mirror each other in terms of the content that you're going to be taking, particularly in the first couple of years, and then there's some more specializations that come to play. I mean, you'll notice in semester 4, for instance, you've got database marketing, communication for marketers, digital marketing, career planning for marketing. So you can see now we sort of transition into more targeted marketing courses as you move through the program. But it is something to keep in mind when you're asking yourself, is this a good fit for me? And
Can
then
I
I've just,
actually, can I just jump in there?
of
Because
course,
that's, I think that's quite significant for a couple of reasons. One being the pathways that a lot of our students will be looking to eventually go on to do a degree, and we will be actually running our own degree within the next couple of years. But the traditional pathways to Ryerson and their degree, and the students that go in there, they do find they have to do courses like accounting and they do have to do math. So it's not bad to have that under your belt at the diploma level. So when we're planning this out, it is seen as a trajectory into managerial levels to so promotability, not just be a marketer, but be someone in the organization that will eventually rise to, the VP of marketing, something like that. So you would want to have contact with all the different disciplines involved in business and see how marketing fits in with that. But as Lori says, that's really the foundation. And in the second and third year, we move very much into intensive applied marketing activities.
okay, great, Adrian. Thanks for that additional perspective. Okay, so if we move into just showing you a little bit more about, if you stick around for the third year, what does that look like? And again, you'll see more marketing, a little bit more, some more management types of topics, like you'll see there you've got HR and you've got project management. But really, the other thing that you'll also notice is here's where the business electives really kick in. So in semester 5, you've got 2. In semester 6, you've got 3. So this is really your opportunity to hone your skills in the fields of marketing that you're really most interested in. And one of the competitive advantages at George Brown, and I think I'm going to get to that in a slide coming up, is that we do offer more marketing and business electives than any other college, definitely in the GTA. And I think in Ontario, if you look at the other programs, you will notice that most of them are very little choice. And it is one of the things that we sort of hang our hat on in terms of what differentiates us. This is just some samples of some of the electives: social media marketing, services, marketing, financial services, sustainable marketing, negotiation skills, retail, business media in Canada. And again, that's just a smattering of what you will have available to you if you stick around for those fifth and sixth semesters in terms of getting even more, sort of detailed training. As I had mentioned, I wanted to talk a little bit about why come to George Brown versus other GTA colleges or even Ontario colleges. And I mean, obviously, as we all know, we're in a really, interesting time right now in education. And so you could argue that location might not be a real competitive advantage as we sit behind our screens and do a lot of this. But we really do maintain that given George Brown is right down in the center of, the business capital of Canada, we have such connection with industry. And what that allows us to do, and you folks that are sitting here at the beginning of your journey in terms of picking where you want to be and your education, and I mean, we're going to be back in the college in January, so we're going to start really, hopefully, fingers crossed, transitioning back into, a more traditional educational setting. And being where we are really allows us to connect with industry, bringing guest speakers into the classroom, our client projects, and really, volunteer opportunities and doing additional training. I mean, there's just so much going on in the city, and we really, when I look at what we offer our students in this area, the location really plays a big factor in this. And as you read down this slide, leading to more connection with industry, I've already talked about our elective options. And then the other thing that we're really, really proud of is we take it very seriously that our job is really to get our students career ready. It's really not just about the education, but are we graduating students that are ready to walk into those roles and be successful, get the jobs that they want? And I think we all put what we bring into the classroom through that lens. And I've mentioned client projects. We do so many client projects in this program. And what this enables our students to do is really do work that is true work that they can put on their resumes, that they can flex, their muscles, develop their skills, and make them confident as they move into the workplace environment. We've all called a digital marketing portfolio, and every student that graduates in these programs will graduate with a portfolio that we work with you on, that takes the experiences that you've had at George Brown and your experience outside of the college that are transferable skills in marketing, and puts it in a format that allows you to really speak to your skill set. It's sort of like an interactive resume that you'll graduate with. And we're going to be graduating our first class in the spring that has this tool. But I think we all feel very strongly within the marketing program that this is really something that's going to set us apart. We also bring a lot of soft skills and talk a lot about not just the technical mastery of what it means to be a marketer and do social media or set up a website or work in different business scenarios, but what are the soft skills that employers are looking for right now, and how can we right from semester one start talking about those and developing those in our students to make them career ready. So just a few things as to why GBC versus some other options that you might have. In terms of the work experience terms, so this is in term, the B158 students I'm speaking to right now. We have a great industry partnership network, and we have a co-op internship office that works very hard to keep these connections and bring opportunities to the students. And we have a very great list. This is just a few of some of our work term employers that come back to George Brown sort of semester after semester looking for co-op students. And, it's our job to connect our students with these employers. And it's also our students' job to take a really proactive approach to these work term opportunities. So often students will ask me, like, am I guaranteed to get, like, I really want to work at Disney. Yeah, are you going to guarantee that for me? And, the answer is no. The answer is we put these opportunities in front of our students, but it's their job to make sure that they are building their resumes and learning what they need to in the classroom and going through the interview experience to get selected by these companies. But, the good news is we really help you to do that, to be successful. And we've also put another option on the table for these academic work terms, which we're really excited about, and sort of started as COVID started, and I'm sure, as you can appreciate, employers were not as interested in bringing interns in sort of this volatile environment, and it was a little harder to place students. Now we're seeing that shift back, but we've launched something called academic work terms, where it's sort of like you become a consultant and you're put on a team, and these are real projects, and you work with a client like a consulting company. And certainly the feedback that we're getting on these opportunities are they're excellent. And in some cases, I think students might prefer this to some of the other roles that we offer them, because you are really guaranteed an opportunity that you have a lot of autonomy, that you're really working on marketing strategy, versus sometimes, you sign up for an internship and you don't quite know what you're getting. And this is a little bit more clear on what the experience is going to look like, and it will be a very strategic marketing experience. So, the good news is, between our work, the companies that we work with, and then being able to offer these academic work terms, every student will be guaranteed a really rich experience if they do the Business 158 program.
Could
I
I
don't know if
just,
Adrian, if you
yeah,
want
I
to
just
add
want to add
anything.
about the academic work term. It's a kind of transitional experience, because why it's called academic. It is situated within an academic environment. So you act as a consultant, but you're on the consulting team, and a faculty member is your manager. So what's really nice about this for students is, you get all that coaching from a faculty person, and these are, dual professionals who have a lot of experience working on the actual projects that you're going to be doing with the live client. But then in the background, they can coach you and they can manage you, and it's so you have the best of both worlds, really. And you also do interact, and you have to have, take autonomy and run meetings with the client, but you always can fall back on this mentor, this great mentor figure, who's going to coach you along with that. So those have been incredibly successful, and they've been very targeted with significant real world and high level stuff that the companies are doing. So that's been that was invented as a kind of stopgap when the whole industry's basically shut down in under the pandemic, and there just weren't resources to bring on students to and mentor them through. So this we put this together, and it actually, in many ways, I think, surpassed the traditional, as Lori said, sometimes uncertain appointment you might get in the traditional work term. So that will be continuing going forward. We're actually going to build that into a larger view of the center and the marketing, the role of marketers in our center as kind of consultants. So you'll be seeing a lot more experiential, client-based work filtering back into the courses. And just to say about that, I mean, that's not just great experience, but it's hugely important for networking. They're not just those big name companies that we always gravitate towards, and you saw them on the screen. But Toronto is it's an incubator of just untold experiments and startups, and what you can bring to those. A lot of companies that don't have, say, the marketing, but they have the IT or something else, and as trained marketers, you go in there and you provide the marketing edge, and then you meet people. And those companies, those smaller to medium-sized companies, they do most of the hiring in the sector as well. So it's just it's beautifully lined up, and a lot of our alumni end up in those companies too, and then they come back and recruit from our program. So it's a really organic system of moving seamlessly through from training into employment, and hire, and then coming back and training more of our students, and so on. So as part of that, that organic community you'd be involved in.
Great, thanks, Adrian. That's a great additional perspective to that opportunity as well. So, okay, let's keep going here. So what else can you expect? I mean, we've talked about the course curriculum, and we've talked about some of the opportunities outside, in terms of our clients and things like that. Um, but in terms of the day-to-day stuff, it's 18 to 21 hours of scheduled class a week. And the classes are mostly scheduled between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. We're doing a little bit of experimentation with a few offerings of evening classes if you want to. But for the most part, what you should be prepared for is your schedule will fall during the day, Monday to Friday. And this is a challenge for a lot of our students. there is quite a volume of work. In most semesters, you're taking 6 courses, and some semesters there's 7 courses, depending on what stream that you're in. And it's a lot. And then you've got a lot of group work and projects. That's a large component of many courses. So, we do find that you need to be prepared that this is a full-time job if your intention is to graduate within the 2 to 3 years. Now, a lot of our students take more time than that to finish the program, which I applaud, which I think both Adrian and I say that is a great choice because we want you to get as much as you can out of the education. We recognize that many of you need to work part-time jobs or have other family obligations and commitments. So I always say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if it means you've got to take a course in the summer to play catch up or stick around for an extra semester or two, that a lot of our students do that. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed when you see, hear us talk about 6 and 7 courses a semester and the volume of the workload, because there are certainly ways that you can manage it and sort of work through being successful in the program if you want to take a little bit of extra time. So where do our students go? Well, there's several different places. Many of them go and start their own business or manage a family business. It's amazing to me how many students are coming across, coming into my classrooms these days that already have businesses that they've started, or nuggets of ideas, and they're using their time at George Brown to figure out how to really support those and launch those. A lot of you, and Adrian has already mentioned that, go on to complete a degree. So Ryerson is a popular one. Most of our students, if they're going to go on, they typically have an articulation agreement with Ryerson. And if you have a strong GPA, it's a 3.4. How it works is your 3 years at George Brown gives you 2 years of university, or you can spend a couple of years at Ryerson and graduate with a business degree. So you have a college diploma and a business degree in 5 years, which is a pretty good deal. And also you're bringing in your real world sort of community college, which has a slant towards sort of practical learning versus more theoretical to Ryerson. I mean, our students that go to Ryerson are extremely successful. We find that we've prepared them very, very well. We also have affiliations with the University in Michigan, Australia, and Scotland. And then the other thing, which is really exciting, is a lot of colleges are launching degree programs, George Brown included. And this is fairly new, but we've got some interesting ones coming down the pipes, and one that we currently have as well. And you can spend some time at George Brown in the college arena, in the diploma program, and then transition into one of our degree programs. So that is definitely a path that our students can successfully take, and many of them are thinking and doing that. And then, of course, the third one is industry. So you want to be here for 2 or 3 years, and you want to graduate, and you want to get at it. So, and then that is obviously probably the most common path that students take after spending time at George Brown. We have graduates in all sorts of industries, in banking, in advertising, in media, retail and market research, in telecommunications. And again, this is just a smattering of titles and companies where our students go. But I think the takeaway from this is marketing is a big, huge, broad discipline. And you are going to get an education in that big, huge, broad discipline. You're going to figure out which streams of marketing make the most sense for you. And the good news is we have students in all different facets of marketing. I love to stay in touch with my students and connect with them on LinkedIn, and it's always so incredible to me the diversity of careers and opportunities that our students have received, using George Brown as a starting point for that career. So lots of different options there. In terms of the keys to success, often, students will ask me, like, what's it going to take to be successful? And, these are some of the things that we talk about. It's a challenging program. And being organized, being on top of the workload is really important. Regular attendance, there is a real correlation to how you do in this program to how much you come to these live classes. It is not a program that you can just read a textbook and write the assignments and take the exams and you will be fine. I don't think I teach one course that you would be able to pass without really actively coming and participating. So you need to sort of be prepared for that. Active in-class participation. There's a lot of in-class assignment work that happens if you're in class. So much of the magic happens with discussions and working with your fellow classmates. And you know, most of the courses that you take will have some elements of that. You've got to be able to work independently and as well effectively in teams. As we've already mentioned, there's a lot of group work and there's a lot of independent work. So be prepared for that. I've already talked about our digital marketing portfolio and that initiative, which we're super excited about, but being able to maintain that and keep that up to date so it's ready for when you're set to graduate. The next bullet here is an important one as well. I mean, if you decide to do a business or marketing program, the expectation is you know what's going on out there. And I think staying current is a really important thing. Reading, listening to podcasts, blogs, you know, different publications. This will just supplement your education and really, I think, contribute to your overall experience. And then the last one we've got here is get involved. We are going to bring you an experience inside the classroom, and then it's really up to you to supplement that, whether it be with extracurricular activities or volunteer opportunities or going to extra workshops or doing internships or working in a field, you know, doing part-time work. But we really encourage our students to understand that what happens in the classroom is a piece to this puzzle, but doing things outside the classroom to really supplement is what's going to make you, I think, successful and job ready and to be able to get the job that you want. You know, we do some things in the college to help you with those extracurriculars. We have something called OCMC, which is Ontario College's marketing competition. We do several different sort of competition things, which are great networking opportunities and again, help you hone those skills. So those come in later semesters. The Vanier College Case Challenge is another example of those. And I know we're, as a faculty, we're looking at more opportunities like that for our students. Enactus is a fantastic club at George Brown, which is targeted to all business students. It's a student-run program focused on entrepreneurship where, again, you know, real clients work with this team of students to solve problems. And honestly, I can't say enough about this opportunity and being involved in this this organization at George Brown and how it can really supplement your education. We do speed mentoring nights where we bring industry experts into the college. We've done it virtually because of COVID, but hopefully we're going to get back in live and students come and they get to, it's like sort of like speed dating where you get to have an audience in front of some of our industry experts and ask them questions and talk about your experiences and make those connections. And those have often led to additional meetups and meetings, and in some cases, internships and jobs. So we do really try to put opportunities in front of our students to allow them to further develop and connect. You know, another thing we like to mention is we have a very robust student awards undergraduate and postgraduate program. So for those of you that are looking for some more financial help applying for these awards and bursaries, and you know, also industry partners make a great effort to connect with award winners. So I mean, I know this is so early to be sharing information like that, and you will hear more of that if you start your time at George Brown, but I think it's important to know this is the type of, you know, school that you're stepping into, that we take this stuff seriously and really do have a robust bursary and awards program for our business students. And then as well, a lot of different services that are included in your tuition. The career services department at George Brown is just excellent. The people that run that division of the college are really good at helping you with resumes and cover letters and mock interviews and tips on going through job postings and career workshops and all sorts of things that we always encourage our students to take advantage of. There's some tutoring services, there's peer assisted tutoring, there's counseling services. So stress and time management and learning strategies and exam prep and anything beyond that. Along with the peer tutoring, we also have a tutoring and learning center to get a bit of a higher level help if you need that. So, I mean, there's so many resources at the college that can help the students be successful during their time. Accessible learning services is excellent in terms of accommodations, students that might need accommodations for physical or medical or learning or mental health support. And again, this is all part and parcel when you join our community, that this is all available to you. I mean, we really do take our student experience very seriously and want them to have every resource possible to have a good time at George Brown. Athletics and recreation, again, obviously this isn't as relevant during our COVID times, but hopefully if you join us at George Brown, we will get back into these facilities and be able to partake in some of the intramurals, and there's also some great varsity sports at the college. So definitely something to keep in mind. And I think in terms of I'm just checking my time here. Yep. So I've sort of taken our 30 minutes, and then we'll flip it over to you for any questions. But if you're interested, apply George Brown, OntarioCollege.ca. For more information, you can always go to the website. And then I don't know, Adrian, if you want to put, if you can put, or somebody can put our contact information up into the Q&A, or Caitlin, maybe you can help with that. But I mean, Adrian and I are also happy to connect with anybody that has any more questions about the program, and be happy to assist you and answer those for you, or get you in touch with somebody that can answer those questions as well. And so that's sort of what I've got. Adrian, I don't know if you've got anything to add, or
No, I think we should just roll it over and see if there are any questions.
sounds good.
Okay, so is e-commerce related to marketing?
Absolutely. I mean, e-commerce is a huge part of marketing right now. I'm teaching 2 different courses right now, and we talk about e-commerce all the time. So we have some electives in e-commerce that we offer, like as a specific class, but it is something that is really making its way into just all curriculum just because of its importance.
Yeah, because I'm interested in learning e-commerce.
Yeah, and so Monica, what you might want to do is, because I think that there are some programs that might be even more tailored to that specifically, because this is not an e-commerce. I mean, we will talk about it, you will touch it in terms of in your classroom experience. You could take an elective or 2 that slants that way, but if you want a full e-commerce experience, there might be a program that's a better fit for you.
Do you know which program is that?
What I would recommend that you do is, and I would look at George Brown, and I would look at other colleges. I mean, Adrian and I'm not familiar if we've got a specific one that is in e-commerce, but we might have some of our business administration programs that are a little more slanted to that. But Monica, I would recommend you do a little bit of your own research. I am not familiar with a program that is full on and 2 years in e-commerce, though. Certainly not at George Brown. We don't offer that. I can tell you that for sure.
I would imagine that'd be more of a micro credential than a 2-year program. I can't think of anything that would be that extended.
Yeah.
It depends on what your purpose is. If say you have an idea for a company and you want to figure out your digital transformation, then you probably want to just take a very short, intensive micro credential, I would imagine, because you wouldn't really need HR and all those other background foundational courses. So probably the best idea, as Lori says, just to do a little bit of a search, and even try and find chats with people that are representative of your situation. So I'm not sure what your interest is in the training, if it's specifically to move quickly towards delivering some e-commerce solution, or if you're looking at a larger career trajectory. But if it's the latter, then you do want some kind of foundational stuff as well.
Yeah, I just want to like sell things online.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, yeah. You've got your idea to sell stuff, right? Yeah. You probably want to pick up, I mean, Google has a lot of courses and stuff like that. You probably don't need a credential if that's what you want to do. If you,
I mean, I would argue, Monica, that I teach full time at George Brown, but I also have my own e-commerce business. And my background in marketing and traditional business, I think, is what has really grounded and made my business successful, because I understand the fundamentals of business, like setting objectives, like defining who the target is, like understanding how to research, different tactics as they come. And, I have a Shopify e-commerce store, and I really have to tell you, all of my training in marketing, as I mentioned up front, is really what has, I think, made my company successful. Now, maybe a 2-year program makes a lot more sense for you. And one of the courses that I teach right now at the college, it's called Marketing Today. And I spend a lot of time directing my students to what Adrian is talking about, which are micro credentials. So, here's 10, like if you want to learn Shopify, here's a micro credential that you can do. If you want to learn how to do social media marketing or Facebook advertising. So you will get resources, but there is so much self-teaching you can do, as Adrian had mentioned. But I would not discount the fundamentals and the importance of the fundamentals for really any business. So I mean, that's just sort of an aside. Personal advice that I would give you is, if you decide to do this on your own, really make sure you also get trained in some of, just to ground yourself in those fundamentals.
So like, I'm not really sure what to do for my future, but I do want to be like independent. I don't want to work for someone for the rest of my life. And
Sure.
I also want to like do something related to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. We had a brainstorming meeting just this week with a whole bunch of faculty about launching an entrepreneurship program at the college that is like 4 months, like 4 months here, or do it in the evenings, and just for people exactly like yourself. So there's definitely a market for it, and I think a lot of people sort of feel the way that you do. So yeah, I think there's probably some other options for you to get some of that training. Can a person choose and drop electives? Yes, absolutely.
yes.
You can choose your electives. I mean, that's really your choice. And you can drop them and take a different one if you've made a mistake. I mean, we do have you have a certain amount of time you can drop something to get your money back, or drop it if you're not doing well in the course. You can drop it so the F doesn't show up on your transcript. But there's a lot of flexibility there in terms of the choice that you have.
The other question was if you've come into this program with the prior credential, whether BA level or any other post-secondary, even from another country, can you get some of that those credits transferred? And of course you can. Definitely anything that matches. Quite often there's people who've already done, if you've done a business program, you've probably done some general business courses, which pretty readily move across. So yes, and that's something that you can work out. You can put together your request list, and we can go through those and vet them. If you're within the Ontario college system, a lot of these courses we know, and it's automatic when you apply, there'll be and when you get enrolled, those credits will be moved forward. So what happens then, it just appears as an exemption on your transcript, which means you don't have to do the course again. But you don't get the mark. The mark doesn't go forward. It's just the credit. So
yeah. But yeah, the shorter answer is yes, absolutely. If you've been in a bachelor's program, there's probably definitely things that we can take a peek at and apply to your George Brown program.
even general education courses too.
So I came in late. What is marketing generally about?
Well,
it's a great question. You know what? That is surprisingly an interesting question, because I can't imagine any particular discipline, which is as explosive and, just the variety of things that are coming out of marketing. So, I mean, there are so many aspects to this. It's actually surprisingly interesting. And we have, a tough time just staying on top of the ways that this discipline is evolving. There's so many different trajectories you can go, careers you can go into from marketing. But Lori, do you want to take
Well, I mean, I think in this context, to distill it down to as simple as we can is, really to me, the fundamental thing that marketing is about is how do you create value for your consumer? And marketers are all about, and that should always be the forefront of learning how to create value, whether that is the products that you develop and bring to them, whether that's the pricing strategy, whether that's the promotion, whether that's, the extra services that you provide. And it's working with other, disciplines, whether it be sales or research or finance, to figure out the question of how can I bring value to my target consumer, and how can I make, how can it be a mutually beneficial relationship that I'm, making the money that I need to make this make sense. And that's really what the program is about. It is answering that question and showing you in all sorts of different ways, whether it be through, finding the right target or using the right tactics or developing the right strategies. But are you creating the value in the relationship for this mutually beneficial, exchange of I'm going to give you something and you're going to give me something in return? I mean, that's really, to me, marketing at its core. But to Adrian's point, I mean, you're going to go in so many different directions in this program to answer that fundamental question. Okay, guys. Well, I think we are over our time. Very pleased that you could join us this morning for this discussion. Hopefully, we've provided you some good information and some food for thought. And as I had mentioned, feel free to reach out to either Adrian or myself, or there's resources on the website that could probably answer other questions that you might have. And we really hope to see some of you in a classroom soon. And good luck with making this decision. I know these are big ones, and hopefully we've provided you some information to help you do that.